This is a tree. Well, it was a tree, but I'm gonna see if I can turn it back into a tree. But first I need to figure out a few things like, is it possible to build paper out of local plants that's 100% biodegradable? Can the paper have seeds embedded in it? Or will they just fall out? Will the paper fold or break into pieces? And will these planes actually grow something or turn into dirt? This video is brought to you by these 18 absolute legends on Patreon. But why even build organic seed-filled planes that will become trees in the first place? Well, ever since I was a child, I was taught to leave a place better than I found it. And honestly, I feel like I could be doing a better job. I want to help improve the quality of the planet before my time is up. But I often ask myself, what can I actually do to help? Sure, I recycle, I pick up trash in public, I reuse containers, but it's not enough to offset the trash and pollution that I've made in my lifetime. If one man in India can turn a desert into a forest in just 40 years, then surely I could be doing more. So how can I spread seeds better than nature? Well, trees use the breeze to help spread their seeds, and it just so happens that one of my first hobbies involves things soaring in the wind. I've always enjoyed making paper airplanes. I had many favorite styles of planes, but this one was my favorite. But how am I gonna make this turn into a tree? Oh, perfect. These guys know a lot about paper.
Can you tell me now where paper comes from?
The man tree puts its
Probably not the right answer. I'm gonna keep looking.
What are you?
Got it. It's actually pretty simple. You just boil the plant or bark for 2 hours, grind them up in a blender, and you have pulp. The pulp will then go into a bath, along with some sprinkled in seeds and a bonding agent. Then you're left with a paper that's hopefully foldable and able to hold seeds. So I went to a few nurseries and found some local seeds. It turns out it is very hard to find tree seeds. So I decided to skip on over to my favorite orange place. There's no tree stuff. You can plant like these types of trees, these types of trees. I got a lot of these trees right here. So I went on Amazon and ordered some magnolia seeds. Now that we have all of our seeds and materials, the last thing that we need is the plants. And they've got to be pretty fibrous. And a few fibrous plants that I can think of off the top of my head we can find around here is, oh, I don't know, southern gamma green, southern red cedar, and mulberry. I have no idea where we can find mulberry. I'm just kidding. It lives outside my home. Where am I? Here. Yeah. So I pulled over. I thought I found the perfect spot for eastern gamma grass. This is Johnson grass. Guess I'll keep looking. This is everywhere though. So we can use Johnson grass to make paper, which is a great. It's great. It's that you. Just gonna pull a little bit from everywhere. So that'll get all our grass and our wood. We're gonna cut the grass into little pieces and we'll put them in this pot right here. And the wood, we'll strip all the bark off of it and we'll also throw that in the pot. And then we'll cook it all together so all the fibers get all loosey-goosey. And while I was waiting for this impossible task to finish, I made the mold that forms a perfect sheet of paper. And then I moved the pot back inside because it was only getting to 170 degrees and now it's almost at boiling. Ugh! My house smells wonderful. It smells like someone just boiled a bunch of grass for about an hour and a half. I took the concoction outside and poured the goopus through the strainer to remove all the broken down plant matter, leaving behind the fiber. I then rinsed the fiber to ensure that it was as clean as possible, then balled them up and popped them in my roommate's blender.
Will it blend? That is the question.
I think I broke it. I'm pretty sure this is how they make Nickelodeon slime. Now that the fibers were completely pulverized, I removed the water once again and was left with some top shelf fibers. So here we have a great selection of nugs. This side over here is 100% grass. Kind of has like more of like a chill, kind of like down to earthy kind of vibe. Tastes a lot like grass. And then over here we have grass and mulberry, which is like kind of a more fun, more energetic kind of vibe. Then we'll take the seeds and we'll sprinkle them in the bath, and then we'll pick a few of these choice nugs, pop them in the bowl, roll up that paper, and we will get as high as possible and throw them from like, I don't know, like parking garages or something. Houston's pretty flat, so we'll get as high as anyone can get in Houston. Let's get started. So this is the goo left over from boiling the okra. It kind of has like a slimy, mucusy feeling. This will help separate the fibers of the bath and then bind them together when making the paper, allowing it to be much more foldable. Finding the right ratio of okra goo, pulp, and seeds was a bit of a trial and error, but I quickly got a hang of it, after a few mistakes. And then I repeated this process about 50 more times. I compressed the sheets to squeeze out as much water as I could without damaging the seeds, then I left them in the sun for about an hour.
The paper is dry.
Look at those seeds and those fibers in there. It feels like high quality drawing paper. The sunflowers are sprouting. That is so cool. So I stacked up the sheets, cleaned up the edges, then it was the moment of truth. Let's find out if this paper is foldable or if it's gonna break. It folds! I'm so glad it folded. I had a good feeling it was gonna fold based off of the thumbnail. Let's start folding these planes. 2 hours later, I had over 50 biodegradable tree-making planes. I'm really excited to see how these turn out. However, they're gonna take like 2 or 3 months to turn into plants. So I'm gonna throw a couple in the backyard, and I'm gonna get back to you on my next nature video and part of my series of how to nature better than nature. Homemade paper plane in the sky. To make you, I had to get hives. They're full of seeds. I'm planting trees. Happy Earth Day. I can grow any plane. Needs rain to grow, needs rain to grow. Every time I threw one of these planes, I felt like I was littering. But this is the opposite of littering. Some might say this is yard work. It's a long throw to the grass. Some planes flew very poorly. Others I completely missed. Did you see which way it went? And some flew perfectly. But only one landed next to used underwear. That one flies really nice. I found it quite difficult to find a high point in Houston next to a field that wasn't gonna be mowed. I just had a hope that these plants could adapt to this urban environment. I was beginning to understand what it'd feel like to be a tree, using wind to spread my seeds. And not to brag, but doing a way better job at it. Got a nice little magnolia seed right in the center. These are working really well. We got a tailwind, so these should go pretty far. Got a nose time. Look at the penguins. Houston Penguins. Oh, this area looks good already. These ones really suck, so I think I'll get more distance this way. Here, smell these. Smells like grass, right? They say the 2 best times to plant a tree is 20 years ago and now. And seeing how it's still definitely Earth Day, I can't think of a better way to show my appreciation for one of the most wonderful living organisms that doesn't mind giving us shelter, food, warmth, protection, and even shade to those who cut them down. Even though I'm just one guy out here planting plants in the funnest way I could think of, it feels good knowing that in a couple months there'll be more flowers to help insects pollinate, more oxygen to breathe, and one step closer to leaving this place better than I found it. See y'all in 3 months when I upload my next video. Unless you join my Patreon, I can quit my job and start doing this full time, which I would love to do. Thank you.